Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus. This is episode 28, and we're going to wrap up season one of Loki. I'm Hank, and I muted you. Try it one more time.
And I'm John.
Those things will happen live, and we're your hosts. So we are happy to be back and not taking the week off.
Yep.
So thank you for that, John. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
And we had a few things we've got to clear up. On Twitter, there was a firestorm in a good way of open dialogue, not arguing, about who Jonathan Majors is playing in this season. Because TP Network's own Alex Cruz chimed in and he was like, it says on IMDb he's playing Kang, which isn't wrong. That's correct. But in this particular season, he is He Who Remains, correct?
That is correct.
And he's a variant of Kang, or Kang's a variant of him, chicken, egg, I don't care.
Well, I mean, technically, how it should be directed is that Kang would be a variant of him, considering that what we're looking at right now is a specific timeline in the MCU.
Thank you.
So if we I mean, but in reverse, if we were in Kang's world, then yeah. So, but if Kang starts taking over, then he's basically like, it doesn't really matter. He won't be stuck in any one place. But yeah,
right.
That's not like, you're born with like, oh, you're a variant because you got that mole on the side of your head or something like that. So,
because each one of these individuals is going to assume he is the dominant one of whatever. He's the real one, correct? Don't you think they're going to all assume that?
What do you mean?
When we get to potentially, like, if they have the one from Egypt, and if they have obviously Kang the Conqueror, and who are the other ones? I can always forget all their names.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, no, yeah. I know what you're saying. Well, I mean, it all depends. There might be more Kangs out there, but you're right. There's also different versions of the exact same character that are called different things.
Right.
And in this case, he or whatever it is we're calling him now, what was it? He Who Remains.
Right.
That is a real name given to a different character, but I mean, it still fits because it's exactly how he says it. This is this universe's version of him. He is called He Who Remains.
So who did when he said he was in battle against other variants of himself, does this exclude Kang the Conqueror at that time?
No, I mean, it does not mean that. He could have fought Kang, and Kang could have been smart in being like, okay, well, I see Goliath, I'm not going to bother him.
Okay.
And now that Goliath is gone, or now that Goliath is gone because he's not there to control it, then Kang is like, well, I can come back in and start messing with things now.
And then, oh man, we got a lot to unpack actually, because I didn't think, now you just jogged my memory on something else. Before we go back to these variants of Kang, which it's still all going to be, Jonathan Majors, on the Goliath front, was he destroyed, or is he like a green-eyed little pet dog now for the Lokis?
I would lean more towards the green-eyed pet dog because clearly it's a being that can't be destroyed. It could be controlled, and he says that he weaponized it. So it doesn't mean that he controlled him. It just means that he was able to make it so it doesn't come after him and it goes after other people. So
okay.
I mean, the wording is very, very well placed. Weaponizing does not mean that he absolutely controls it, but he controls it to a point that he can use it as a weapon.
Okay, so that was like his attack dog, his guard dog.
Yes,
outside the Citadel.
That is exactly it, and it feeds on matter and energy, and since none of it is supposed to exist at the end of time, it's the perfect place for him to be. And in this case, he is Stephen King's The Langoliers. Basically, what's left behind is eaten by the Langoliers.
Good point. Also, what does this mean for our variants in the Void?
Well, I mean,
are they now going haywire?
The Void is still there.
The Void is still the Void.
It can't go anywhere. The void is the place at the end of time.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what happens where, the void still exists. And if anything, it's going to happen to them is that they're just not going to get rained on with more buildings and randomness because the pruning will stop. At least
temporarily.
I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly to the extent what the TVA would be doing now. I mean, it could go to the point where Kang will send the TV out to stop other versions of himself, coming into his realm, or basically doing the exact same thing that He Who Remained was doing, just in a more evil tone, to make sure that he stays, superior. So, I mean, if the TVA still have to go and destroy timelines, then yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. They'll probably end up more stuff will be dropped. But if that's not what they're doing and they're just policing things now, then more than likely the void is just going to stay the void and nothing else is going to happen with it.
Oh man, this is getting into the weeds, it feels like. So
well, I mean, you just got to think about like what it is. Like, as soon as they say this is the place at the end of all time, it's a place that has to exist because it is the last place at the end of all time, literally. So unless time ceases to be, it has to be there.
okay. And then when you think about everything that transpired in that finale, when Sylvie pushes him through that door, is he on the same timeline he always was, but the events were shaped because of what transpired at the end of time?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I mean, nothing has changed with him because he was at the end of time whenever things were changing.
But how does that disrupt Mobius, B-15, and the others?
Because if Kang goes back in time to the point where the TVA was originally created, gets rid of He Who Shall Remain and replaces him, then to the TVA still exists. All the things that happen within the TVA still happen. It's just now it's got a different ruler over top of it.
Okay. Interesting. This is so fascinating.
I mean,
so do you
I deal with a lot of time travel, like storylines and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where it can go a bunch of different directions, but in essence, He Who Remains purposely didn't do had Loki end up coming to him so that he could try and get him to replace. So basically, at the end of that episode, he was saying that I set you up, you escaped, the Avengers, so I could my people could capture you, so you can work your way here.
Right. Also, does that mean that he took part in creating the one chance out of all the chances against Thanos? Is Kang responsible for is He Who Remains responsible for that setting that path where there was only one way to beat Thanos?
I don't. That is a good question. I do not have a good answer for that. I can see it going like this, and that Kang would still want that to happen, because if they still take Thanos out, then he never has to worry about ever running into Thanos.
Right.
So I mean, that, if anything, works in his favor, because he's, you're getting rid of a rival. But here's the other thing though. So the TVA, if the TVA exists on this specific timeline, now it's connected and splintered with all the other ones. But this timeline still exists regardless. So because as the TVA is like in a world of itself almost, the events that happen in the MCU are still normal.
Okay.
But
up until a point.
Well, no, everything should be normal, because all the stuff that happens, such as Loki actually picking the Tesseract back up and leaving, doesn't ever happen, because they erased that from happening.
Yes.
So
now all these threads that are splintering off, now they can point to those and say, well, this is a different splinter where this happens, and this is a different splinter where that happens.
All right, so this is gonna get wordy,
timey-wimey.
All right, didn't pay attention to it until my second time watch through. At the beginning of that episode, we hear a different timeline. So this is all the devil's in the details whenever we trying to pick this apart. The He Who Remains never said that there wasn't any other timelines.
No,
He
he
said he
doesn't.
isolated a timeline to make sure that none of the other ones would get to it.
Yep.
After when it starts to fray, then it's not isolated anymore. So the other timelines that exist outside of this, whatever it is that he did, are now meshing back into this. That's the reason why when you see the last scene, it's not one line with a whole bunch of stuff coming off of it. It's everywhere. It's like the spider web from the Spider-Verse, because it's all the other timelines and dimensions kind of like coming back to the big old chaotic mess that they originally were. So yeah, they crisscross and stuff because some things can happen and eventually they meet at the exact same place, but then they'll still go different directions, and it's just it becomes a great big mess. So in this case, it's not, oh my goodness, it's not so much that they're creating multiple different timelines. They are doing that, but that's not the biggest part. Is that they're allowing the old timelines that still exist out there somewhere to re-merge with themselves. So the TVA, wherever the TVA exists, they exist in the realm where you can see the time stream in a line, like how we saw. So it's that's where, I mean, that's how they're connected to the He Who Remains. So after we see everything mesh back together again, Kang can be on one of those other timelines that had nothing to do with the current one that we're doing. So it is completely possible that Kang was not created from the branching of this timeline. We saw the one who was from this timeline. He was he who should not, He Who Remains, but Kang will come from another timeline that now has crashed into this timeline.
I like it. Can I lighten the mood for a second?
Oh, sure.
Do you think Sylvie will take care of He Who Remains?
I have, you know what? I have no idea what's going on now, because that was my thing, is that, all right, well, so
You didn't get the joke.
Oh, well, I'm being serious about it. I know I didn't get the joke.
He Who Remains remains.
No, he doesn't remains anymore. Oh, you want to deal with his remains?
His remains. I'll be here every Friday.
Well, and Thursday between 6 and 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to lighten the mood. So was there anything else to that, or no?
No, I mean, I could keep ranting for a while when it comes to that. There's just, I mean, it's a lot to take in, and people can argue all they want, but if you look at how honestly, the Spider-Verse from the movie, as well as just in the comics in general, it explains it right there. You look at that, you're not seeing one timeline with things branching off. It is just a great big web mess. And that is because it's not just a branch timeline. It's multiple different. It's the multiverse reconverging and doing what it wanted to do in the first place. That is basically free. If anything, my question is how Renslayer is going to like fit into all of this at the end, because of the fact that she is what she said, her last words were like, she's going to go find how to be free. So either one of two things: either she's going to go work with Kang, or she's going to work against Kang.
You went to my next question. Will there end up being two of her? Will there be one at the TVA and then one of her that's out there doing stuff with Kang? Possibly.
That's possible, yeah. Because the thing is, because think about it this way: if Kang comes from a completely different timeline, that she exists in that completely other timeline as well.
True, good one too. He could just bring that one with him.
Yeah. Because I mean, everything is up in the air. I mean, he could just bring his whole other Avengers group over. So, or if he's like, screw the Avengers, I'll have you met the X-Men,
Dark Avengers, X-Men. Yeah. He could do it. I mean, the sky's the limit. This kind of brings clarity to some of the conversations with actors they've had over the years. Like in the past, I know you've heard they talked to Tom Cruise about stuff, and they talked to various different actors and stuff. This kind of makes sense now if you had them playing variants of our main characters. I would love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's totally possible.
All right, the next point of contention is where does Loki fit on the timeline? I found some stuff on that, but I want to see if you have something different to say.
Okay, so is this the question of when the Loki show where it fits in the timeline
Yes.
in regards to everything else that's going on?
You want me to say what I found that
Uh,
they said?
yeah, because I bet you it's the same place. But go ahead.
Okay. They said the timeline is after Endgame, but before WandaVision. Is
See,
that what you heard?
well, no, because the one that I see is like, have you seen the matchup between the last part of WandaVision and the last part of
Yes.
Loki,
I
where like it syncs up?
just watched that.
So, I mean, that's possible. But then, although I did see a nice, funny where basically it was saying this has got to be the worst week of Loki's life because he gets the so he shows up. How long are they're toying with the Avengers in the first one? So it's only like
Yeah,
maybe like a day, 2 days.
2 days
Yeah.
or
So
so.
it's okay. So he lands this day. He escapes. He takes the guy's eyeball. It's day, but and then so it's like maybe he's there for like 3 days, right? And then the end of Avengers happened.
Right.
Then he ends up with the TVA, and he's there for a couple days. I don't. I mean, because it's never really pinpointed how long he's
No.
there for.
Nope.
So yeah, worst week of his life. But if that's the case, then if we're going off of the normal timeline, then yeah, it should be like less than a week after the events of the first Avengers movie.
I just noticed your name, the best Loki.
Yeah.
I would have to differ on that just because for a limited time you can get the Superior Loki
Well,
t-shirt from tpenetwork.com.
hey, that's fine. That's the superior Loki. I'm the best Loki. We're good. We're good.
And it is on sale as of Friday, July 23rd. It is going to be on sale for the entire weekend for just 13 smackadoodle-doos. So it looks pretty cool. If you're watching us on YouTube, you get to see it. If not, head to tpenetwork.com, click the store link, and it will take you right to the page where you can buy any of our TPE network designs. A ton of people have been buying Glorious Purpose. And so I think what goes good with that, the Superior Loki. So you can just have a whole TPE network outfit set up in your Monday through Sunday kind of attire. You can just be like, oh, I think I'll wear the TPE network logo gold this day and the white logo the next day, and then Superior Loki. That's got to be on Wednesdays because that's when it aired. But it's a lot of fun putting these together. So we appreciate everybody who has gotten a Glorious Purpose or TPE Network gear, and now is your chance to get a really inexpensive Superior Loki alligator shirt.
I have a nice little thing coming up here soon that Lizzie said that she was going to make me. So it just keep on the lookout for that. Maybe in the next couple weeks I'll have it.
Perfect. I like the sound of this.
Oh, it's you're gonna want one.
I can't wait. But other ways you can support TPE Network is if you want to donate to us, you can head to tpenetwork.com/join, or just by sharing the show. Word of mouth is awesome. Sharing it with people who also watch the shows that we cover, that will help us continue to grow, and we greatly appreciate you.
Also, we have a Patreon page, which is it
Nope,
patreon.com
nope,
slash
that's part of the join.
oh
That's
okay.
part of the tbnetworks.com/join.
Oh
I
okay.
give everybody a million ways because our audience, for whatever reason, does PayPal. The majority of the audience does PayPal.
Hey, that's all I would
And
do.
yeah, we're fine. I'm fine with that. I don't care which way you do it. It just helps us out. So thank you so much. Now it is time to get into a piece of feedback we got.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, I wanted to say just one quick thing. This
Sure.
is just something else that we were talking about. All right. So I sat down and watched all the Loki straight through.
Oh,
Okay.
I forgot you were going to do this.
And I did not It did not stand out to me that each one reflected an Infinity Stone,
Oh, okay.
because there
Oh.
was a lot of blue in every episode. So, I mean, maybe if you squint real hard and do a lot of wishful thinking, I mean, it's because I know when a lot of people write these articles, it can be. It's a lot of their own perspective of how they're looking at it. And I was curious about it because at the same notion, they went all the way through WandaVision, and we were thinking that every single commercial was an Infinity Stone. And I mean, it hasn't been unproven, but it's more along the lines of they were more about her subconscious than Infinity Stones. But in this case, it's the same thing. You see some colors, and automatically you're assuming that it supports being an Infinity Stone. But yeah, I honestly did not see that.
Okay.
So I think that if anything is a bust.
And we were on overload during this series because there was just so many Easter eggs. It was just like I was looking for Easter eggs where there weren't any.
Well, I mean, and they were putting Easter eggs are not even like Marvel related into the thing. I mean, it was just Easter eggs upon Easter eggs. It was the smorgasbord of Easter eggs, you could say.
Because the actor talked about He Who Remains outfit. And I was looking for stuff on that. And I was like, oh, maybe it's an amalgamation of all the different characters. It kind of is dress wise. He admits that. Like dress wise, they took elements from each of the different ones in the comics and just put them all together. So because I mean, he looked like his outfit didn't match at all, and it wasn't supposed to. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it now when I watched him talk about it. And his quirky behavior was supposed to be like a tech cross between like an evil genius and like a tech startup CEO and stuff like that. So he was supposed to be really weird like that.
Well, I mean, remember he is kind of a tech startup. I mean, he did create the TVA and was started.
He got seed funding from all the Lokis.
I mean, it's a proven fact that he started the TVA.
Oh my gosh, that's one of your best ones ever. Oh my goodness, that is one of your best ones ever.
I can't take credit for it. It was also a nice picture that I saw that said that even said I mean, I don't know. You're probably going to end up editing this out, but it said, look, it said, even in the 31st century, a black man can start his own business.
Yes.
TVA. I'm like,
when you sent me that, I was like, black owned TVA, black owned business. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Oh, that's really good. Really good.
You know what? Honestly, it's a lot better than it being Loki at the end, because I don't think the jokes would have rolled off as easy.
No, not at all. It'd have been like yet another Loki t-shirt. That's what it would have said.
No, see, in the end of all this, we need to just keep on like making like who we think the bad guys are, and then cross them out, and then at the bottom it was just Mephisto. For every other one, it's got to be Mephisto.
Dang. Oh man! So guesses that were Kang are incorrect. Sorry, because they're two different people.
Yeah.
All right.
because if he was Kang, then we wouldn't be dealing with Kang.
Right.
And he never addressed himself as Kang. He only addressed himself as that. And besides that, it's not like Miss Time actually, said his name.
Minutes,
Miss Minute, yeah. And he was like, she's still calling me that.
He Who Remains. I was like, okay. Oh, that's great. Yes. Kang, who came first, Kang or the Kang?
The other Kang.
The other Kang. Okay. Let's get to Elizabeth's feedback.
All right.
She says, hi, Hank and John. The behind the scenes Loki episode almost felt like a part of the series with Tom Hiddleston's straight to the audience voiceovers and him admitting Kang was the villain at the end. At the end of the credits, there was a list of all the Thor and Avengers movies, but Captain Marvel was included. Did Loki make a cameo in Captain Marvel? Or is this a reference to the Kree in the first episode? Thank you for this podcast, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you for sending that in.
I think it's tied to the Tesseract.
Ah, good point.
Because, I mean, like it was, there's two things that went with Loki. Even when you bought the toy, it was the Tesseract and the staff, and we did not even know the staff was Infinity Stone for quite a while. But the
Right.
Tesseract was a key part of the entire Phase One. So anything that was related, I mean, shoot, they even did a Tesseract like introduction special. Remember the characters? Here's Loki. Well, then they did a Tesseract one, and I'm like, because that's a character. But I mean,
Right.
clearly that's how they're wording this: is that the Tesseract is more or less a character in the MCU.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, each of them carry their own uh, dynamic.
Yeah.
The way I was gonna go with it was I was thinking because of the upcoming Marvels,
Mm-hmm.
and that probably has been caused by this kerfuffle, I would assume, potentially.
Well, yeah, but we're only dealing with Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Photon. So I mean, it's not
Not
we're getting
too
more.
many of them.
Yeah, we're not like getting different versions of the exact same character. We're actually getting different characters. No. They're
Kinda.
different characters. Just because they have the same name or they've used the name, they're not the same characters.
What about Captain Marvel, the original Captain?
You
I'm
mean
sorry, I'm kidding.
Captain? Which one? You mean from the DC universe? Or are we talking about Marvel?
Shazam!
Uh,
What if he shows up? I think I almost get sued last time I said that?
I
I
don't.
can't remember. I can't
Did
remember.
you?
I can't remember. That might be an Alex Cruz question to ask. I don't remember how that one played out. I better be careful. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap her up? Because I see that What If begins August 11th.
Well, I've got He-Man to go through now, so I am
So
not
you'll be
watching
doing
the
that.
original. I'm watching the original He-Man because that would just kill me. I mean, I've tried to. I mean, I loved it when I was growing
Painful.
up, but watching it now is so
Painful.
hard,
It's
so
painful.
slow. The
G.I.
dialogue is
Joe.
slow.
G.I. Joe for me is like painful.
But
All
yeah,
right.
so that's I mean that's coming up. So, and then you got to do your sit down and watch all the way through Loki again. I mean, you really it goes by pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
And
If
and
you have them together.
yeah, and I'm still pitching Maggie's idea about having the Loki the Superior Loki one-off shorts on like YouTube or whatnot with Croc Loki or Gator Loki or whatever he is.
That'd be great if there was a crocodile Loki and those two face off. You'd be
Yes.
like, this has just reached an apex right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah, the shorts would be awesome. I don't know if they'll do it. They have so much going on, but
I know, but
it'd be great.
I only like it because it'd be an easy thing to do because you don't have
Mhm.
to get any stars for it. You just let the Gator do
Right.
stuff.
Let
But
him do it.
but it is officially confirmed as of this week that Loki will be in Multiverse of Madness. Now we were like,
Yay.
duh, like what it would? Why wouldn't he be? But I mean, again, unless they've officially announced it, it's all speculation. But they've
True.
officially announced it, which is going to be neat because now you have Strange, Loki, and Scarlet Witch all in the same one. Where Doctor Strange has already dealt with Loki, this Loki has not dealt with Doctor Strange.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, he's gonna be like, what did I do?
Yeah,
Like,
he's gonna be like doing the drop thing over again. He's like, oh man, you did a lot better last time you're doing that. I'm like, when was the last time?
I don't know who you are.
But really, I mean, Loki has magic. I don't think his magic could stand up to a Scarlet Witch's. But if anything,
No.
the knowledge that he has from He Who Remains and everything that TVA was doing is more than enough than they need. Because again, it's one of those things where like, he's like, how come I've never run into you guys before? He's like, because you've never stepped out of line. And it's like, because you don't want to run into them ever.
No.
I mean, I was just actually in one of the X-Men comics as of late because they have young Cable in the comics and but they have to take care of Strife, and the only one who can really take care of Strife is old Cable. So they broke one of their own rules and brought the same person just in two different like timelines, or not timelines, like time frames. Like you like a young version of Cable and an old version of Cable, and the old version of Cable was basically just doing what he normally does, which is bitch and moan about just being old. And then he was talking. He said that he's like, and you got to watch out about the TVA. I'm pretty sure they still have a wanted poster out for me.
Nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, it's fun that whenever, like, I mean, that was from the comics from a while ago, but it's still current. They brought it up. So
That's terrific. Well, John, thanks for joining me on this fun Friday. We'll be back next Friday for more.
yeah.
For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.